You've got me today, Melissa, reading the next section from our reading book at the moment, which is Beowulf. We're looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. So this week we are reading pages 37 to 46, and it says here you'll find a recording of this on the YouTube channel, which if you're listening to this right now, you have already done so. There's some questions coming up, but first of all, we're going to have a look at the next slide. So we have first of all a poster for you to retrieve information from. So have a look at the questions and see if you can find the answers, and we'll go through them tomorrow or in our group calls later this week. The skill we are practicing at the moment is summarising and identifying the main points of a piece of text. Now, this is a very useful skill to have, and one that you will use without knowing it on a daily basis when you have conversation with your friends about your day, or a film you have watched, or something you've attended, or even something you've read online. When you go to tell someone about any of those things, you won't be telling them everything, you would just be getting across the key bits of information. On the next slide, it explains how to summarise the main points of a text, and that is the task for this week. Now, in your packs, Dave and Denise have enclosed some post-it notes for you to write on. And it might at first seem tricky because post-it notes are quite small, but the whole point is that you're not filling up that post-it note with lots and lots of teeny tiny handwriting, writing out everything that you've read. You are just putting the main points. So this poster here has some good tips on how to identify, first of all, what the main points are, and then how to summarise it in your own words without giving all of the detail, but just getting across the key points. So read through here and see what you think. Okay, now I'm going to carry on with some reading of the story. This is starting on page 37. There were, it was true, some envious looks cast at Beowulf and his Geatish warriors, and some envious words too. Amongst the Danish thanes, a few did not care to be outshone in this manner, and felt their honour threatened. Some challenged Beowulf openly, questioning his proud claim that he would succeed in this fight where they had not. Especially, they said, if he faced up to Grendel unarmed, as he had proposed he would. Stung at these insults, Beowulf spoke up strongly in his own defence. Do not worry yourselves on our account. We'll soon show this monster Grendel strength, courage, and a firmness of purpose he has never met before. Just because you have failed, don't imagine for one moment we shall do the same. We are made of sterner stuff than you think. Mark my words, by daylight the reign of this terror tyrant will be over. We have come to do this, and with God's help we shall achieve it. The more Hrothgar heard, that kind and generous king, that great father protector and shepherd of all the Danes, the more he hoped and then believed that Beowulf could better the beast that night. Doubts disappeared, and all envy too, as the harp music rose to the rafters and laughter echoed once again about the great mead hall. Bearing the precious treasure cup, Hrothgar's queen came now to Heorot to meet these Geatish heroes, to greet and honour them. But to the peerless Hrothgar, her husband and her beloved, she offered the treasure cup first, and afterwards gave the cup to each of them, irrespective of age or rank, for she was always gracious and kind to all. Then to Beowulf she came, glittering in her regal beauty, her arm rings glowing gloriously. Offering him the cup, she thanked him warmly, and the good lord who had sent him for coming so nobly to their aid. Accepting the treasure cup and her thanks most graciously, Beowulf rose to speak. We have come here, my lady, rowed and sailed our way across the surging seas for only one reason, to carry out the wishes of great Hrothgar, your husband and king, and our friend and perfect ally. To accomplish the death of this Grendel and end for ever the terror that stalks this place and all your people, or to fail in the attempt and so meet our end. No words had ever sounded sweeter to this lady, this splendid queen of the Danes. The poet sang then of the victory to come, of the foul fiend destroyed and evil banished, and Geat and Dane alike raised their rousing voices till all Heorot sounded once more to the ringing rafters. But now, as he looked out, Hrothgar saw the shadows lengthened and knew the time was coming to quit the hall. He knew, as they all did, that outside in the falling dark, which would very soon drown the world, the dreaded monster was leaving his lair again, was already gliding through the brooding shadows towards Heorot. Hrothgar and Beowulf, great heroes both, saluted one another in love, and in parting Hrothgar spoke his last words. "I now hand over Heorot to you, brave Beowulf, to have and to hold through this night. Guard it well. I know that in the fight to come you will stretch every sinew. Summon up all the strength and all the courage you possess. In return, should you survive and the beast be destroyed, I promise before everyone here I will show you more generosity than a king ever showed before to any man." So saying, Hrothgar and his queen led the Danes from the hall. Only Beowulf and his Geatish thanes remained, charged now with the safety of the kingdom. "The time is soon coming, so let each of us put our trust in God," said Beowulf to his men. "But in our strength and fighting skills also. Do this, and we shall not fail." And with that he took off his coat of mail and his helmet, as he had vowed to do. He unbuckled his war sword too, and then gave all his armour and weapons to his faithful attendant. Before going to their beds, the Geats gathered together one last time, set forehead to forehead, drinking deep of one another's courage, fiercer now than ever in their fiery determination. "We ask the Lord to bless our endeavours tonight," Beowulf whispered. "Remember, we fight this fight in his name. It would be easy to come at the beast with weapons, but I shall cut short this monster's life with my own God-given strength. Let God choose which of us shall triumph, and we have no fear of losing. Believe that, my friends, and we shall win." So Beowulf went to his bed, and his men too, but in truth they slept only fitfully, for there was not one of them, not Beowulf even himself, who could be certain how the night would end, whether any of them would ever see the light of dawn. They knew well enough how many brave Danes this Grendel creature had dragged lifeless and bleeding from Heorot, how unlikely it was that some or all of them would ever see their hearth and home. In silent prayer each of them placed his life in the hands of his Almighty Maker, who had from the very beginning ruled supreme in the affairs of men. Up from his lair and through the shadows came Grendel, this stalker of the night, while in Heorot the warriors lay turn-tossed in their sleep, only one of them left on ever watchful guard, every moment steeling himself for the ordeal of battle he knew must come very soon. And it was coming too. Grendel came gliding through swirling moorland, cloud mists death-dealing in his hate-filled heart, thirsting to kill again that night as he had so often before. Down from the forest came Grendel now, saw the mead house, scented the sweet flesh of the inside, easy victims, as easy as before, he thought. Had the monster known what awaited him there, he would most surely have thought twice, slunk back to his lair and never returned, for this would be the last time the beast was ever to go out on a killing spree. Never more would the terror tyrant stalk the land. Now it was his turn to suffer the panic of fear and the pain of death agony. So the giver of death and destruction would become the receiver at last. He did not know it yet though, and came on unawares to Heorot. Rage racked on wreckage bent, Grendel ripped open the iron-studded doors. They were no hindrance to him. He scanned the dark hall through fire-blazing eyes, saw the slumbering thanes, still drowsy in sleep, the solitary, startled sentry, the whole war-band. Rejoicing at the prospect of another flesh feast, this vile and vengeful creature laughed out loud at his good fortune. He would tear each and every one of them to pieces, stain Heorot's floor once more with the lifeblood. A night of gore and gluttonous pleasure lay ahead of him, or so it seemed, and so it began too as he snatched up the first Geatish sentry he saw. Hansio he was called, and simply tore him apart, bolting his flesh in great gobbets, gnawing and gnashing on his bones, stripping the meat, sucking the veins, until, In moments, nothing of the poor helpless man was left, not a hair of his head, not a hand, not a foot, not even a nail. Right, that's as far as we're getting today. On the next slide is a 60-second read text. Down the side of the text there are numbers. These numbers represent how many words you have read. So your challenge, can you read the text in 60 seconds? So that's 1 minute. Can you read at least 90 words in 60 seconds? Write down 5 statements that you could give to somebody to sequence the story in order. And can you summarise the text in 30 words or less? So you'll need to come back to this slide because you won't remember all of that, and just have a go at each one of those challenges in turn. So I won't do all the challenges, but I'll have a go at one just to show you. So can you see the numbers down here on the left hand side are counting up how many words you have read. So the top, if you read the top line, you've read 8 words. Once you've read the second line, you're then up to 17 words. So the idea is to see whether you can read that in 60 seconds, which demonstrates a good pace of reading. And if you're not quite there yet, can you have a go at doing up to the 90-word part in 1 minute? So you need to grab yourself a minute timer on your phone or on a timer and just give it a go. So that was the first couple of challenges, but go back to the previous slide to see what the other challenges were as well. So for example, I would set my timer now and I would go 3, 2, 1, go. Archaeologists have found a rare Viking ship burial in Norway. They think a powerful Viking ruler was buried there. The huge ship was found buried in a farm near Oslo, Norway's capital. Archaeologists used radar to find the ship, as well as 8 burial mounds and 5 longhouses. Only 3 other Viking ship burials have been found in Norway. Most of them were found a long time ago. Viking rulers were sometimes buried in their ships with their gold, weapons, and even animals. However, there probably won't be any treasure here. Thieves stole most of the gold hidden in the huge burial mounds hundreds of years ago. So you can see that I was reading just at a good, normal, steady pace, and then I would stop my timer when I finished and see how long it took me to read that.